Maryland, baby. We made it. This is not Eagleman, because it's not the name of the town that we're in, but we're here for Eagleman 70.3 in Cambridge, Maryland, which is like 20 miles that way. We're out in, I don't know what you'd call this place, an estate, a mansion on a big piece of property. There weren't a lot of choices for this race, so we spent a long time traveling to get here to our home for the weekend. Ended up being a pretty solid deal on VRBO, with me and Gerard behind the camera there, all alone in this big place that gets very dark at night. But it was not too bad of a travel. It took basically all day, because you got to drive to the airport, you lose 2 hours, fly most of the way across the country, and then drive another couple hours to get out here. So I love the small town races. I think the vibes of them after racing 70.3 Michigan last year, and just some of the other races that I've done growing up throughout my career, they always have a super cool vibe, because the town, I think for the most part, supports the race to have so many different people come in and take over the town for a little bit. So I always like racing out here, but it definitely makes it a bit challenging logistics wise. Overall though, not too bad. We got in finally here after grabbing some food, grocery stop, finding the place, building the bikes, rolled that out at about 8:15 p.m. before the sun went down, and did a quick little spin. Hit the most bugs we probably ever hit riding on the bike out and back, just to make sure the bike was put together fairly well, and then hit the hay basically. And now we've woken up, having some coffee, feeling energized, and not too much to do. It's just about an hour spin with some race pickups until you kind of feel good, and then a little bit of a swim. And I haven't decided if we're going open water or if we're going to try and find a pool or something, but I'll throw on the wetsuit, make sure that feels good, since I haven't raced in a wetsuit since Oceanside, and yeah, kind of get the lay of the town. We saw it very briefly, but we only stopped at the Food Lion. So now just figuring out where everything is, making sure the body's feeling good, and race day is going to come up super fast. I'm doing the chain. So we play now in a game of fractions of a percent. And if the chain is going to save me by waxing it a handful of watts, that starts to equate to seconds, minutes, and it adds up. Just like I don't put socks on in T2, because for a half marathon, don't really need socks to make it through, and that saves me maybe 20 seconds. So it's just those little marginal things that start to add up over the course of the day. And half Ironman, you know, I think we're starting to see the races are won by seconds and not minutes, so that helps. And then obviously over the course of an Ironman, those seconds turn into minutes super fast, because the day is really long. Just like where I grew up. There's no hills, you just have the wind.
pretty fast.
Averaging like 25 miles an hour.
Holy shit.
And I love being able to breathe. There's so much oxygen. Ride's done on my second or third meal of the day. Got to get in all the protein and carbs 2 days out. So mini carb load today, bigger one tomorrow. Just in between the ride, felt super good. I think in the right conditions, this course is going to be super, super fast. Most of it is really well paved. Some of it's a little rough, but it's all going to just depend on the wind because there are absolutely no hills here. Now we're getting ready, gonna go find a pool and splash around a little bit, feel good, grab some dinner, chill out. I did some sharpening earlier with Matt Pendola, so just working through the day, and slowly but surely race day's coming up. As Tiger Woods, Jack Nicklaus like to say, when they arrive to a new course, new pool, where's the first tee and what's the course record? Where are the diving blocks? What's the pool record? It's meter or yard?
I bet it's yards.
500 freeze for the boys. 534. Set in 2024.
You gonna break it today?
Take a minute off that bitch right now. North. I don't know who you are. Year was 2014. Set the pool record. One of the longest standing records up. Well, 200 free is C. Greer with that. That's too far from Neil today. From a push, 50. I saw 23 up there for a long time. They'll be close. Be close. End of the day, just hanging out. Did a couple things to get the gear ready for the race just a little bit early. So put some speed laces on the shoes. And now we're gonna go to bed so that we can wake up, maybe try and beat the rain for a ride tomorrow. Hit up the pro panel, race briefing, a little jog, some activation, bedtime, a lot of rice and chicken tomorrow. You know, just all the fun pre-race stuff. So yeah, just basically, oh, the swim was good. I think we got a pool record today. I think felt good in the wetsuit. I think it's borderline right now, so we'll have more information for you tomorrow. We're just kind of cruising through this thing, and I think tomorrow's the real information day. All I know is I showed up here, I saw the start line, we're gonna go break some course records. Happy carb loading day. I feel like Buddy the Elf. Poor maple syrup on everything. Just a quick spin, shake out the legs, cycle through some stuff on the bike, and then go back and get ready for pro panel and pro briefing. That's basically it. We got a little run to do in the afternoon after all of that stuff. And yeah, this is a light training day, heavy logistics day usually. Let's move so we don't get eaten alive. Oh, big gear, big gears.
If you let me put it down to you when we get home, if you let me put it
Day before the race is a bit of a love-hate relationship. There's a lot of fun things to it. The pro panel was fun and eventful. It's fun to interact with everybody. The eventful part was we got absolutely poured on. It was like a mini storm cell blew through. The rain was diagonal at one point. So that was basically, I think, the most entertaining part of the day. Other than that, pro briefing is something we've been doing for, I've been doing for 10 years now, so it's always pretty similar. The pre-race workouts are pretty uneventful, which is what you want. Sometimes you feel good, sometimes you feel bad, sometimes you feel indifferent. So it's just all about checking boxes today. And that's why it's a bit of love-hate, because there's some fun there and the hype is building for the race, but it's just basically a waiting day. You're just waiting all day, and it's the juxtaposition of wanting to get the body fired up, but also just wanting to sit and chill and do nothing and watch Netflix all day. So that's basically been it. Here it is. This is what's going to feed us tomorrow. I've watched Deadliest Catch a few times, so I think I can figure out how to bait a crab trap. I think they crawl in through here to get to the bait, and then they can't get out. That's exactly how it is.
Where do we put the bait, though?
We put the bait right here.
Oh, so we don't even need the bag.
No, we don't need the bag.
Perfect.
It should have it built in. And then we drop it down, and I think this might be right side up, right? I don't really know how it is right side up or upside down. But this is the only thing that makes sense to put the food in.
Yeah, wouldn't they need to go through the sides there? So it would need to be down.
Yeah, that part needs to be now. Okay. I think you're right. Now, maybe they could get in through here, but that makes more sense.
Yeah.
All right, I'm going to open up. Now, this time we aren't lucky enough to have Good Life chicken sent in, the smart chicken. We got some Walmart chicken, though. It'll be good. Oh, we could have brought more chicken out. Oh, these crabs gonna love this.
Yeah, because that's a big area to put a bunch of bait in.
Yeah. We didn't know. It's our first time crabbing.
Yeah.
That's not going anywhere.
How far do you throw it? Just drop it down?
Just drop it down.
I'm pretty excited about this.
You're really excited?
Yeah.
I am too.
Yeah.
Like, I'm pretty stoked. All right. Palms away. Tomorrow, feeling good about. I feel like I've been at the cusp of a big result and a big performance for a while. And this is definitely, I'm way ahead of where I was in Oceanside in Texas. So that's a lot of confidence going in tomorrow. There's going to be some interesting strategy, I think. Greg Harper should be able to push the swim super hard, and I'll be trying to hang on to his feet to grab every second I can off of those guys behind. And on the bike, I think the second half is where it's going to like make or break it. I am going to try and ride smart, I think, for the first half, and then push it hard the second, whether that's trying to hold on to wheels of guys who have caught me or trying to hold people off. And then the run is kind of gut check time. I think it all depends on what happens on the bike and how hard I actually have to push for the gap or to hold on. But I've been running pretty solidly, and when we did the lactate testing in the lab, that was the one that I seem to have the most improvement on. But this is a triathlon. You have to swim and bike before you run, and everything kind of adds up throughout the day. So if I'm killing myself to hang on Greg's feet and then murder myself on the bike, the run will probably be kind of ugly. But that's also racing, and I have to take every opportunity I can to put myself at the front for a win. So there's a lot of strong guys here, but I think I have a good chance against them. And, you know, nobody knows until the gun goes off. And even then, so much happens in the race that you can't stop until you cross the finish line. So that's why we're here. We're not doing it on paper. And yeah, the anticipation is what's going to make it fun tomorrow. We found a crab on a crab's back. We'll let you use your imagination, but we're going to try and get him and put him in our crab pot to save for later, because we just can't let this opportunity pass it up. If this is successful, this is already a win for the trip. Oh, they're moving. Oh, they know I'm here.
They know I'm here.
Oh, I got him.
No way, dude. You got both of them.
We won the trip already, man. One for me, one for you. Blue crab?
Holy cow, dude.
Oh, he's upset.
Holy cow.
All right, I'm behind the camera now. We already got a crab. We're up to 3.
This is amazing, dude.
We're gonna be eating like kings.
Holy shit. This is unbelievable.
Wow.
Oh,
Night before the race, too.
I'm like pumped, man.
Yeah, I'm all jacked up. How are we supposed to go to bed now? We got to start looking up crab recipes.
Dude, who thought that it would be that quick?
Well, I don't know. We caught 2 just with a net.
All right, how are we gonna do this?
Here. Oh, yeah, these guys I think might have been fighting. They got Maryland, baby. All right, keeping it simple for 70.3. We're gonna have 2 bottles on the bike to try and get through for nutrition, 1 for water. Gonna put at least 100 grams of carbohydrates in both of the bottles. Gonna scoop a little more to keep myself a little bit closer to that 120 grams. But the first bottle, the only difference between the second bottle will be that it's gonna have 200 milligrams of caffeine in it. So the run, I'll have a scoop of caffeine and then 2 scoops of just normal carbs for 75 total. Will give me a little bit of that caffeine boost, but not overdoing it. It's just a half marathon. And so if you're not hydrating as much when it's cold, it's just nice, especially if you over concentrate your bottles a little bit. You might not need as much fluid, but you will get in all of the calories that you need. And the best part about this is if I'm doing, and I'm calling it doing 5 scoops each, 125 grams in each bottle. I have this bottle of water that I can mix in So if I feel like I'm getting too many carbs too quickly or my stomach isn't feeling right, I'll switch to water. And water is probably the easiest thing to pick up on the course. So I'd rather over concentrate the bottles a little bit than be, you know, and pick up water than to just under concentrate, be under fueled. I'm feeling wild and crazy. There's always something with these nutrition mixing videos. Just never goes super smoothly. Caffeine. Get 1 scoop. I'll go a little light. I'll go a little heavy on the raspberry. Am I talking loud enough, or is this just gonna be crazy ramblings, mumblings? The way that I did this, I did about 1.5 scoops of the caffeine, so I could be about 150 milligrams of caffeine. And then I finished off with another 1.5 scoops of the raspberry, maybe a little heavier on that. Just, that gives me 75 grams of carbs. This will be more of a thicker consistency that I can take going through aid stations. And I can honestly add more carbs to something like this. I just, when you're running, even for a half marathon, let's say I take, usually at my slowest, I would be, you know, still under an hour and 15 minutes. So even with 75 grams of carbs, that gets me at least 60. So that, and then if I take Coke in on the course or anything, this kind of puts me right where I need to be, which is much better than trying to cram in 100 grams of carbs on a half marathon. It's just not gonna do you any good. I don't know, I think we're good. It's time to go to sleep.
Definitely.
And then tomorrow morning, my bottle for the morning will be another like 75 to 100 grams of carbs that I'll work on from the house till the start. And I'll put caffeine in there too. It'll kind of depend how much of the rice I'm able to get down. If I'm able to get the rice and protein powder, maple syrup, like if I get about 100 of that, I definitely cap the bottle at 100. But yeah, because you want it around at least 150 grams before the start of the race, but up to 200 to 250. And that's including, that's everything from the breakfast 2.5, 3 hours out, plus that bottle that I'll drink to like the start of the race. My wife posted that 4 hours ago.
Huh?
Well, I had Apex Coaching make a story about me 2 hours ago. I'm like, who's up that late?
Holy shit. Yeah.
And then Courtney posted something on stories 4 hours ago. So it'd be 6 hours ago for them. Okay, that's still like 9 p.m.
Yeah. That's
9
crazy.
to 11.
Aaron, do you want to give us a little, what day is it today?
Yeah.
You know, what's your kind of your morning routine?
Feel a
What do
little
you,
sassy hit play.
what do you kind of eat in the morning, and what do you still have to do?
Well, nothing much has changed since we sat and talked on the chairs last night. The only thing that's different is probably got about 4 hours of sleep, officially, unofficially. I could check that, but then I ate my delicious rice concoction, which is gone now, and I'm having a coffee, and it's still dark out. So we're saying it's morning, but it's the middle of the night. And we're gonna go down to the race when it's still dark and set everything up. And then, yeah, we're gonna have just a grand old time today. There's not much to do now except just get there. So I'll activate a little Didn't jog in the pitch black out here, but yeah, 5:45 a.m. start's pretty rough. It's a little bit rougher than usual, so it's just basically like, let's just go. That had to be the ice maker, right? This is a little bit creepier in the middle of the night. Whew. All right.
Yeah. I don't know, man. I thought that was the coffee
I
machine.
thought that was the coffee machine at first too, but it's coming
Yeah.
from over there.
Yeah,
I thought I heard something in the middle of the night. Welcome to Maryland.
All right. The race is still pretty raw. It's a few hours after. I've at least eaten, had some caffeine, talked through it a little bit, but still waiting on Neil's kind of final say. So any specific good stuff or what he sees in the data probably will wait. So this, I guess, the kind of like my raw emotions about the race. And I feel like I'm pretty good at always finding the positives in the race and can get into that, but I think my initial reaction to the race is just kind of disappointment. And yeah, 7th kind of sucks, and I know that in the grand scheme of things it's pretty positive. I was at the pointy end of the race. I was competitive until I kind of wasn't. I just expect a lot out of myself, and to come in and just kind of not really perform how I wanted to, that's sport, but that's the shitty side of sport, and that's the part that you just kind of leave yourself. You're just kind of thinking about the whys, and that's good because then you can find stuff to fix and you'll be better and you can do it. But it's just, you know, as you get farther into your career and as like when you show up on start lines, and especially when you're focusing on Ironman, you get fewer and fewer chances to perform. And it just kind of stinks because I know I'm fitter than what I showed, and I know I'm more fit than I was in Oceanside and Texas, but I just don't really feel like that showed today overall. So that's pretty frustrating. I could come up with a few different reasons why, probably, but yeah, I was beat by 6 better guys today, and frankly, there were a couple guys who had just bad luck, like bad calls with the official or just whatever it was, and who were probably also going a bit better than me. That sometimes racing is just like that as well, and at least I got to try and put my best foot forward. So just to start at the morning, the most interesting thing is just the nutrition. I got in a little over 200 grams of carbs to start the day, and that's pretty much right on track. That's exactly where I need to be, and it helps fill in any gaps with race nutrition. Race nutrition, I'd actually, if I was giving myself grades, I'd give myself about an A for the race nutrition. I felt like, or the pre-morning breakfast, like that all is really pretty dialed at this point. I'm a little bit indifferent to my rice concoction for how much like I enjoy eating it, but it seems to work fairly well. I don't get overly full, and get in a pretty decent amount of carbs mixed with 100-gram bottle of the carbohydrates and the caffeine from Good Life. Going to the swim, I think that was all. The swim was probably the best part of the day. I executed my plan not quite flawlessly. That was probably like an A-, because I was able to get on Greg Harper's feet for the most part, kind of dangled off a little bit. Right from the start, he started way right, I was left. And then and kind of got there by the turn buoy for sure. So I had a little bit of a help on the way out, which was choppy. Far turn buoy, he got around it pretty well. I got a bit tangled up in the buoy. He saw it. He made a move how he should, and a move that I respect, that I kind of learned even from just racing with Tommy Zafaris, like going around the buoys, hitting it right out of there. I could see from his kick he was, but I just, with the way the current was pushing too, I just didn't have that next gear to really close it down completely. So he had about 20 seconds coming out of the water, but I felt like I made the most of that first opportunity to get those extra seconds on the guys behind me. And I guess I haven't quite looked at all of the gaps, but I had anywhere from at least 2.5 minutes up to 4 minutes on all of the main players in the race. And I feel like I executed my bike strategy pretty well. Was it maybe a bit conservative? Probably, but I felt like it set me up for the best run possible. And if I'm giving myself a grade on the nutrition there, that's probably a B. It's about there, maybe a C plus if I'm being hard on myself. I think I got in, and this is an approximation, I got in one full bottle, and then I was a little over halfway through, and I put those up to 125 grams of carbs. So I was somewhere in that 180-ish range, I would say, maybe a little higher. I was right at about the 2-hour mark, so you can kind of say I'm in that 90 to 100 grams an hour for the bike portion, which is maybe on the lower side for where I should be. I think in humid conditions, the nutrition can tend to go down a little slower. I didn't feel hot, but I didn't want to force the nutrition at all either for GI distress. So with the bike too, it was a very steady effort. I think when I looked, like, overall, I mean, the power was only a little over 3 hours, and that got brought down definitely when I got caught by Robert Callan, Anthony Costas, and I think the guy's name was like Luke Wood or something. I might be having his last name wrong, but those guys caught me and had a little bit of a back and forth before Callan took off because he felt like we were going too slow probably, which I feel like we were. I think for a group to really work well, you have to ride a bit above 70.3 pace when you're on the front and then recover when you're not. And I just felt like the group wasn't really doing that. So we were kind of caught in this no man's land of Callan going up the road and then the Sam Long group with a lot of firepower coming up from behind. And so that kind of brought the power down because then I was just in a group for the last 15 miles or so, maybe 20. And that was fine because I think the biggest takeaway from the bike, again, maybe a B plus, was I wanted to take the first half relatively conservatively so I could push the second half. If someone like, Callan, Long, Jackson, Foley, if any of those guys caught me, I wanted to be in the main group. I missed the move with Robert Callan, and it wasn't worth pushing 400 watts to try and close that gap because the dude's an animal on the bike. And I was able to come off the bike with everybody. And if you look back to 70.3 Michigan, I worked super hard with Justin Rielli to try and get a gap on Jackson, and he caught us by halfway. Granted, I think his gap was a little bit smaller there to us coming out of the water, but he caught us and then he was able to drop us. And I feel like I handled it all really well. Like I didn't feel like I was super stressed power-wise. So, hindsight, maybe I should have tried to ride a bit harder, but I also wanted to make sure the back was okay going onto the run. And when I just did lactate testing with Neil, the run tested better than the bike and improvements and how I was going. So I was feeling pretty confident about the run and being able to put up a podium performance, and felt like we could run down Callan. So I felt like I was in the running for even the win potentially, but got off the bike and protected the back. That was all good, and started running and just didn't really have a rhythm. I was able to kind of feel okay coming out of transition, maybe felt a bit forced. Sam was maybe 5-10 seconds ahead of me, with Foley about the same behind me. So I was running in third with Callan about 1.5 minutes up the road. And I was able to latch on to Foley when he came by. We chatted a little bit. So aerobically and cardiovascularly, I don't feel like I was super stressed throughout the day. I think my highest heart rate on the bike or run was maybe 162 or so, which is, I feel like, relatively low for a half. And ran with Foley until we almost caught Sam. He gapped me, and then on my own, I just had no rhythm today. So suffered for a while. Collins came up, ran with him for just a little bit. And when I say a little bit, we're maybe talking half a mile to a mile if we're being generous. and would feel like I have some sort of a rhythm, but felt just like I was overextending a bit. Whether that was just the legs being fatigued, maybe the stomach a little bit. Like it just felt like it was a bit too much. And then from there, I just continued to go backwards. Ran with Jackson a little bit, but just never really found a rhythm. Kind of felt like the day overall was stuck in Ironman pace. My run is maybe a C- if I'm being nice. You can take into account everything, from the beginning of the year trying to get into fitness. We've just, had a lot of things going on recently, but those are all just excuses. And I felt like I was ready to perform based on the training I've done, based on the lactate testing. We have been also training more for Frankfurt, so that could also be a reason why I'm feeling flat, maybe figuring out coming down from altitude. But overall, I felt like I was in at least the fitness to contend for a podium, even if I was just off of it. So that's mostly why I'm disappointed, because I just felt like it was a missed opportunity. And I mean, it's all the credit to the guys up front. Like, they raced super fast, smart races, and yeah, we're able to get the job done. So this is something like I got to talk with Neil, got to just figure some things out. I still feel like I'm on a good trajectory for Frankfurt, and yeah, it's just I guess this year it's tough to kind of see exactly where I'm at or really look at the performances with the winter that I had, because it's been playing catch up a little bit. So it's hard to group it into the last couple years, but it's been, I feel like, a while since I've had like a result that I'm like stoked on. I mean, Oceanside I was kind of stoked on because it was just slightly unexpected to race like that. But yeah, and I keep feeling like, oh, this next race is going to be it, which is maybe that tragic optimism, or the just belief that you need to do sport, because yeah, it's almost like tricking yourself into believing, or just having that blind belief, because otherwise it just could be super disheartening or heartbreaking to put in all of that work and then feel like you underperform or don't execute how you should. So I probably made a few mistakes on the day. I guess the run nutrition, just to give myself a grade, that's also like a C+. I took in about half of my flask, so that was about 35-40 grams of carbs. I didn't really ever feel like I was bonking. It just, overall just felt like Ironman pace. So have some things to get in line and in order for Frankfurt. Yeah, overall it's just kind of a mediocre day for me, which is tough to leave the family and come do this and just have it be like that and just not do it. And I think after how I performed the last couple years too, it just makes you think a little, and you wanted to make sure that you're getting things right, but still trust in the process. Know stuff is coming, and yeah, it's just sport. You have to keep going. So it's just making the most of the opportunities, and yeah, that's what I want to actually start doing here versus just, kind of being in the mix.